Last Sunday, I was listening to a lecture at a bar, and my heart felt like it's going to pop out of my chest. Not because of the irony of the location, but because of the fact that I'd raised my hand to speak. I had not felt my heart like this in a really, really long time. And I was like, what is happening? I'm going to bring the mic close to my body, and people in the room are going to be able to hear just how fast my heart is beating. Younger version of me would have immediately ran. Like, my heart beating that fast, this cannot be healthy, this is not normal, this is bad, I need comfort, I need to run. Height, basically. But the 27-year-old therapist version of me decided that no, I'm going to stay. Yes, my heart's beating very fast, especially as a mic came close to me. But this isn't something that's bad. This just means that what I'm talking about means something to me. I care about how it's going to be perceived by the audience, but it absolutely does not signal anything negative about my capabilities, my knowledge, or any possible. There's really nothing wrong that could go if I were to just give my opinion about something. The opinion was met with applause. People came up to me and told me just how interesting they thought my input was. Now, I would have never even got a chance to know what that felt like had I been younger. And that's kind of what happened. The 27-year-old version of me was quite proud of herself that day, that I did not let myself interpret anxiety in a negative way. I know that might sound a little strange, right? Like, how else are you supposed to look at anxiety? Isn't it like a really bad emotion that's quietly become the bane of our existence? It absolutely is the bane. But does it always have to be looked at in a bad way? That's the point of this video. See, the thing is, emotions have existed since time immemorial. But the way we humans look at it, what label we assign to it as negative or positive, and after that, what we do with that information defines how anxiety is going to affect our lives. Had I in that moment looked at anxiety as a negative thing and decided not to speak, I would have never got the chance to experience my experience after. The same goes for sadness, fear, anger. Are you exercising a compassionate slash curious lens when an emotion pops up in your body? There's so much talk around anxiety and dealing with it, getting better at it, and like people telling you about grounding exercises, medication, meditation, and all of it is very important. But there's this one piece of where you that pause where something that's just wholly about how you see things that makes the whole difference. Whenever I tell my clients about this, and 9 out of 10 clients bring in examples about anxiety, they are quite shocked about it because we've not quite been trained to look at our emotions from a magnifying glass. Right? We just see it as something that just hits us, and that's about it. We don't sit and pause and think, why are we experiencing this emotion today? Why has my head decided to feel anger instead of sadness? Like, why did I show up in this way and not the other? You get the picture. But that's what we want as therapists, people to be getting more training in, because it is truly life changing. The thing is, the world is a very messed up place right now. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it and tell you that it's like a Disneyland in any no, chaos, chaos, chaos. So anxiety is but natural. At the end of the day, the definition of anxiety is the fear of unknown. What do we know in this world today? What is something that we can truly predict? Absolutely not much. So it's but natural to find it knocking on your doors every now and then. Now, how you deal with this guest is going to make all the difference. If you tell your brain that this is bound to come, every time you're about to do something new, every time you're about to step outside of your comfort zone or have conversations that might be feeling a bit icky but necessary to have. This could be with your friends, with your partner, with your workers, co-workers, boss, what have you. This is going to come knocking. But does that signal anything more than that? Humans are wired to love control, to love structure. That's kind of what's kept us going, and therefore we have like a whole civilization in place today. But as the world's progressing, there are going to be more and more things that we might not even know much about. So, do we then, how do we approach this sense of this need for control? In some areas, absolutely having a lot of information beforehand is quite helpful, and that has to stay. But in other areas, we have to make room for the fact that sometimes we might not know what is going to happen, and we might not know how things are going to end. But that's also, in a way, a good thing, because that gives you the room to know that things can also be good, to make room for the what if. That on one end there's what if things could go wrong, but on the other hand there's a piece of what if things could go right. What are your facts on the table that have shown you that things are not going to go right? Have you actually seen the future? Even if things will go wrong, what proof do you have that you will not bounce back from that? This is a whole chain of questioning that we as therapists try to get our clients to be a bit more accustomed to. Talking to yourself sounds very strange because we don't have experience yet in doing it, but that's kind of how you have to make your mind your best friend. Every religious book that's on the table talks about it. Speaking of anxiety in particular, I can say that once you do more of this, it's not like anxiety will never show up, because like I said, the world is in such a place that there are going to be moments that are going to feel like a little all over the place. But at least when it shows up, you're not going to look at yourself in a way that is demeaning to yourself. A lot of times anxiety shows up and we think, of course, I can't do this, I can't do anything right, why can't I be like others? That comparison piece especially hits a lot. Look at everybody else putting themselves out on the internet. Why can't I just get over myself and take out the camera and do it? If it was so easy to do, everybody would be doing it, right? But it's not easy. It's easier said than done. But it gets easier with practice, like most things in the world. All the leaders out there who are giving speeches like as if like they're just born with it are people who truly have not been born like that. They have just become accustomed to the idea that anxiety is a part and parcel, and you have to do things you can do to just prep yourself for it. And when, so that when it comes, it's like this. It's like that income tax return you have to file at the end of the day. And it's not something that you are looking forward to, but you know why it's there, why it's important. You deal with it when it comes, and then push it out of the way. And then the more you do it, the more your brain starts seeing it like starts seeing it less like an annoying thing or something that is defining about who you are as a person. My idea for this video was to keep it quite short, but I think I'll leave you with one last thing. How you talk about yourself, the identity I mean, the way you assign something as part of your identity makes all the difference. Clients come in saying, I'm an anxious person, Ria. I really don't know what to do about it, or like, how will I ever get better? And I have to pause them and say, you are dealing with anxiety. You're not an anxious person. You have to separate it from who you are as a person to start seeing it as something that you can deal with and not something that is a part of who you are. To my clients, that has been quite a game changer, even recognizing that is something that is in their power to be able to play around with, to change, to understand that today you might be dealing with it, tomorrow you're not. And it can differ in capacities. It doesn't define who they are as a person. They can be somebody who experiences anxiety time to time, especially when things get hard, but that's okay. That's just the way the world works. It doesn't make them, and we would never say this for physical illnesses, right? Like, you don't go around saying, I'm a common cold person, I'm a backache person, because we see it as something that is entrusted upon us, like it just happened to us as a result of everything, like germs or whatever. Think of it anxiety the same way. It's just a familiar emotion, and that's why we start to tend to think of it like this is who we are. But you have the power to change the story at any time. If you're looking for more tips around anxiety, watch how do universe say this? Be mindful for more such content on this page. This is absolutely not a substitute for therapeutic advice. If you're struggling or know somebody who's struggling, do reach out. I'm going to put my link here. So if you want to chat with me, or I can connect you with somebody else if I feel like that's better suited to your needs. But yeah, stay in touch.